It's me, Maxxy Rainbow.
And I am Renata from the 𝗍𝗍.
And welcome back to episode 37 of the 𝗫𝗍𝘆 podcast. In this final episode of the season, we are going to be going back to our roots, to the first episode of the 𝗫𝗍𝘆 podcast, and we are going to be doing the 𝗫𝗍𝘆 Awards. Da-da-da. So in this episode, we are going to be going through some various award categories and in giving out our own personal 𝗫𝗍𝘆 awards, both me and you. You know, we're not, these aren't combined. These aren't combined opinions. These are both our individual opinions awards for various different categories. So I'm very excited. This was how we started. This was a very fun episode. I was rewatching it to get all the categories and I was like, oh, this is gonna be fun. I love stuff like this. And so I'm very excited to get in this episode, of course, but before we get into the episode, we have to give one final shout out of the season to our patrons. These are people who went over to patreon.com/𝗫𝗍𝘆 podcast, subscribe to get the full length video episodes ad-free a day early on Thursdays, as well as some Patreon exclusive content, which is going to be coming out a lot more over this summer, because although we are pausing the podcast over here on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts, everything like that for the Eurovision season, you know, the 𝗫𝗍𝘆 season 1 may be coming to an end. However, we are still going to be feeding y'all over on that Patreon over this summer with some, you know, reactions to older years and various different things. You know, it's going to be very fluid. I think we're going to take requests from people. Maybe we could do some Q&As. I don't know, you know, stuff like that. We could even do lives. You could do over on Patreon. So it's going to be fun to experiment with that stuff. So you don't want to miss any of that. So make sure you head over to Patreon and subscribe. But one thing that you also get when you subscribe is a shout out at the beginning of the episode. So shout out to the following people. A lot of y'all, well, most of y'all honestly have stuck around this whole season. So like extra big, huge shout outs to everyone. I mean, shout out to everyone, but shout out to all of y'all for sticking with us this first season. It's been so amazing. So shout out to Danielle, 𝗲𝗍𝘆, Alistair, Russell, Shoegazer, Daniel, Kathleen, Suniva, Norbert, Jackson, Henny, Andrew, Elliot, Sana, Liza, 𝗥𝗲𝘆𝘆, and shout out to our newest patron, Zinder. Let us know if I'm pronouncing that correctly or not. But shout out to you. Shout out for subscribing. Thank you. I know you do not want to miss what was going on over this summer. And if you don't want to miss out on what we have going on over here, make sure you subscribe to patreon.com/𝗫𝗍𝘆 podcast. All right, so let's get right into the 𝗫𝗍𝘆 Awards. So first, we got to start off these awards with how the season began, which was with national selections. So right out the gate, the first category is Best National Selection. So for me, I had trouble picking, because I think that there were a lot of really good ones, but I think I had to kind of think about which one am I listening to music the most from? And so for me, I think San Remo took the cake this year. There were so many amazing songs this year. And it's something very powerful is when your winner doesn't win, but the one that did win is still in your top 5 of your Eurovision rankings. You're like, oh, but that's still really fucking good. So that's for me, San Remo. There were some amazing songs, Casa Mia, Diamanti Grezzi, Sinceramente, and so many good ones. So for me, it's San Remo. I just think about when we were watching them in Finland, and I was playing you all the songs, and even you were like, wait, this is kind of good.
Yeah, they were really good. Some of them were awesome. But of course, I have to go with UMK for this year. Just because also based on like that metric that you said was like, I listened to every single song that came out in UMK. And it's not just about the songs that came out in UMK. I think the format of UMK is really good. It is really enjoyable to follow. Like, it's fun to be a part of that whole process because it happens in such a orderly fashion, but it has so much excitement around it. You know, the songs coming out, you know, everyone gets announced at the same time. Unless you have, you know, that great drama of the early season with the Uli auntie who supposedly leaked the list of the artist. But like the way that it all comes out, everything is so equal with, you know, everyone's music video comes out, they all have the same production level. The stagings are all pretty equal as far as the amount of like financing they get for it. Like everything about the contest is very fair and it's very manageable and it has like a good flow to it from beginning to end, where it's really kind of like a month of excitement around it. And it's 7 songs.
Yeah.
So like it's enough to like you could get really invested in one, or you could like a whole bunch of them, or you know whatever, but it's not like a 25-30 song contest with all these semifinals. Like they don't need all that extra, like, you know, they separate the curd from the whey when they do, like, you know, sometimes it's nice to have like a tight package, lots of editing, and I think that just made it the most enjoyable one to like be a part of. Also, I was a
Yeah.
part of it because of course we went there for the show, so I do have a certain amount of like personal emotional experience that makes it the best one for me.
Yeah, I agree. I had UMK on my short list, especially because I think in terms of like a national selection, that one, every single song was so good. Like for me, I guess UMK is probably the one where it's like, okay, the whole selection, everything, every single song was amazing, but it doesn't have less songs. Um, Sanremo pushed it over for me because I'm listening to the songs I love
Yeah.
more from that. But also, and also just like as people who went to the national selection, the organization, everything, I'm like, oh, that is the selection I want to go to year after year after that experience. So that's still the one to beat. And I also just wanted to shout out PZE
Yeah.
for Serbia because that one is on the come up. There's still a lot of filler. Like I think we could do with cutting it down to just one final show, maybe 10 songs or something. But still, I mean, they're on the come up with that one.
Yeah,
One to watch.
absolutely.
So then after that, we've got favorite national final entry. So this was easy for me. This was easy peasy because I actually went through, because I'm a ranker, every single national selection I went through and ranked, or at least like some of the ones I didn't really care about. So like I just picked my favorite. And then what I do is I ranked every single entry. In theory, if all my favorites won their national selections, where would they end in my overall ranking in the end?
Gotcha.
And my favorite entry was 𝗤𝗏 from Sanremo for Italy. That song would have been my winner if it was selected from the whole selection. That song has been my favorite. That one has stood the test of time. I thought the message was beautiful. That is one. And I was listening to it the other day and I was like, I really think if that was picked, I think it could have won Eurovision.
Oh, wow.
So, because it's just the message was so relevant to it was about Palestine basically, but in such a poetic, beautiful way that anybody would be able to really appreciate it. It's not like, you know, a political song, but it's just a very important, relevant message of the time. And I think it would have really touched people in the moment at Eurovision.
Yeah, that was a really good one. I would have liked to see that go maybe instead of
Mm.
Angelina. I wonder what song they would have sang if they would have also come and sang Imagine on the floor of the press center.
Mhm.
Um, so my favorite national final entry was 𝗥𝗏, of course. I mean, that song will be like a very special song for me forever.
Yeah.
Um, so definitely that one. And I just have to say, I'm just gonna like pat myself on the back. That reaction video I did for 𝗥𝗏 has more views than the 𝗣𝗇blog's reaction video for 𝗥𝗏.
That's when you know you made it. That is when you know you made it.
They have 100 or I think almost 200,000 followers or subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah.
Maybe I have like 1,500. So I I think probably thank you 𝗣𝗇blogs, because I'm sure like us both having the reaction video pushed me up. Like I bet people were
Mhm.
seeing my video after they were watching 𝗣𝗇blogs. So that's why I wear my 𝗣𝗇blogs pink today. No, not really, but
Exactly.
um yeah, definitely 𝗤𝗏. And she just had a brand new song come out with
Oh, really?
Sexmain.
Really?
Yes, yes. That
Oh.
let me give you the actual name of the song because I wanted to say that it's used to well, but that means cheese, and I know the song is not called
Oh, well, I'm
cheese.
giving cheese right now.
You are giving cheese, queen.
If for those
Maxxy
of
is wearing
you who are,
yellow. Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say, for those of you listening, I am wearing all yellow. I am in my Nymphial Wind era. This is the year of yellow. I don't know what, or I don't remember what her term was.
So the 𝗤𝗏 song is called Juostan, and it's with Sexmain, and it just came out. Wow, 𝗥𝗏 has over 8 million streams. Good for
That's really
her.
good. Oh my God, that's almost as much as she who shall not be named.
That's amazing.
That's amazing. Yeah. All right. Well, then after our favorite national selection, we got to talk about, okay, so that was our favorite, our personal favorite,
Yes,
right?
personal favorite.
But who was the most robbed? So the way I interpret this question is kind of as like, it's who really deserved to go through, especially over who ended up going through. And also like the thought process of like, where did they end up placing, the one who did go through, versus where do we think this could have placed? That's kind of my thought process for this. So for me, 𝗤𝘅𝘅𝘆 Wild West for Iceland, most robbed. I really believe that entry could have came top 5. That was like, I mean, the way that that was rising in the odds, the country for Iceland, and then just shot right down. They ended up coming dead last. And like truly one of the biggest, greatest losses could have ever witnessed in Eurovision. I mean, that was just like absurd. So I can't think of someone else who would be more robbed than that in this situation.
Yes, I agree completely with that because, like you said, they came dead last. So there's no way that 𝗤𝘅𝘅 would have done worse than Hera Bjork. Although I do wonder what their experience would have been like.
Yeah.
It probably would have been really unpleasant. Like if that delegation was going after Joost as hard as they were, I can't imagine what
Yeah.
Iceland would have gone through. So, I mean, maybe like so many people who came second this year, maybe they really did, kind of get themselves, out of some
They dodged
uncomfortable
a bullet with that.
situations. They dodged a bullet, exactly. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I would definitely agree with 𝗤𝘅𝘅.
So now that we have gone through our national selections, let's talk about the internal selections. So the next category is who was the best internal selection? So this one was hard because there were a lot of good internal selections this year. And to be honest, the winner came from an internal selection. So just basing this off of personal vibes for me, my heart wanted to say Switzerland technically because they won. But I gotta say, Netherlands, Joost Klein, 𝗏𝗏𝘅𝘅 is my vote for the best internal selection for a multitude of reasons, but I think especially like because we were almost so included in the lead up of that selection, of an internal selection, the campaign to be selected for Eurovision, the whole lead up to that, it really made us like stand behind him. And it was one of the most exciting almost internal selections, like being able to know who submitted, and being able to like root for this person so hard and then finally have them be selected in the entry was so good. And also being left edged, not knowing where that may have ended up in the end. To me, that is the iconic entry of this year. Even if it didn't win, that is the one that will be remembered from this year. So I say Netherlands for sure.
That's a really good one. That would definitely be like what I would choose if it wasn't for my absolute love for Marina Satti and 𝗁𝘅.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
love this song. This little ta ta
Ta,
ta ta
ta.
ta ta. I love this song. Like I listen the fuck out of this song. Like there's been days where I've listened to it my entire like 30-minute drive to work, just on repeat, just cruising in the car listening to this song. So it just like it really just kind of hits a lot of things that
Yeah.
like make a good song for me personally. And I was so glad to see Greece kind of give us something that felt Greek as opposed to like, I don't know, like the Last Dance one, like even Supergirl, Stefania's songs, like her songs were so just like generic pop.
They could have,
Anybody
yeah,
could have submitted
anybody
those
could have,
songs.
yeah.
Even Die Together could have really come from any country, but not many different
Yes.
countries could have sent a song like what they sent this
Mm-hmm.
year, and they did really well.
Yeah.
So it wasn't their best result ever, obviously, because they've won before, but I mean, just out of the top 10, it's amazing.
Yeah. And I think that just looking at the list to come up with like an answer for this, the internal selections are not typically the internal selections don't win. I think national selection people are more likely to win
Yeah,
Eurovision most of the time. But the internal selections kind of ate this year. They
yeah,
kind
they
of
did.
ate this year. So yeah, it was a good year for the internals. Um, so next up, we have the best official music video. So again, oh my God, I had a hard time picking because it's like you like things for different reasons. I really like Serbia because Serbia is like kind of my vibe, a little bit more like my personal aesthetic love. Greece was so good and humorous, and so was Estonia. But I think in the end, ooh, I gotta give it to the Netherlands again. I just think that
Yeah.
song and that music video, it was like literally the perfect presentation of this song, of 𝗀𝗆 as an artist. The iconography that came from that with the European Union flag, it honestly ending up becoming a controversial political symbol at the actual event, like to the point where the EU had to come out and make some statements like, girl, those visuals coming from 𝗀𝗆 was just like iconic genius when it came to that. That video was like, and that one is the one I watch where I'm like, ooh, this could be, and 𝗏𝗆 is becoming an international hit, and it makes sense. Like after watching that video.
Yeah, my award also goes to the Netherlands for this one because the video is really good. And the video actually for me elevates the song
Mm.
considerably.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is better with the video than it is on its own as audio.
Yeah.
Like there's something that's very, it's because I think whoever they used for their creative direction, like it's been very kind of consistent throughout. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that whatever team they used for the visuals was just really strong because it carried through also to the staging as well. There was just
Yeah.
a lot of vision. It was really it was the Eurovision, the most Eurovisionary, I
Okay.
think, of the songs this
Yeah.
year. Um, as far as like how well it encompass what Eurovision is supposed to be, but I think that's another sign too of how Eurovision is not what it's supposed to be. Like the reality and the ideal are different things.
Mm-hmm.
And like 𝗏𝗆 is the ideal of the Eurovision, the way that we idealize Eurovision. Whereas the actual winner of the year, I just always think now of going to hell and back with this year, like that it really
Mm-hmm.
does, you know,
Yeah.
it should have been Europe, let's come together, it's now or never, but instead now it's going to hell and back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yes, anyway, a little bit of a tangent, but
No, you're
Netherlands
good.
definitely ate.
Well, and you know what? I have shout outs for like every single category because for this one, I just wanted to shout out Estonia because although it's not the
Yes.
best video, I will say that is one that I felt like elevated the song. And it was a consistent critique every single time I talked about the live performance was that I wished they brought in aspects from the music video because you watch the music video and you fully understand the message of the song. There's an artistic element to the video where there's also like more of the cultural element is showcased more through the visuals. It's a little dirty, it's a little grungy. 𝗏𝗆, whoever did Ollie Alexander actually would have made a little more sense to this song. You know,
A
that
hundred
graffiti, the
percent.
dirty sort of drug deal going on, sketchy vibes. That was what this song needed. And the video brings that. So,
Yes, I agree. And the video is one of those cases too where it matches the song so
mhm,
well. Like it really just fits. Like it's funny you would say Ollie Alexander because I felt like that song and the visuals didn't match
yes,
whatsoever
yeah,
in the video or the staging. So um but yeah, I definitely agree that it's an honorable mention.
yeah. So now we move on to the best staging. So this is a double category. So we've got best staging and worst staging. So best staging for me, without a doubt, goes to Ireland for me
Yeah.
because Bambi Thug, Doomsday Blue, this was one that just was elevated to another level. I mean, this was pretty low in my ranking. Not okay, sorry, pretty low. Pretty low in my top 10. On the lower end of my top 10. But it was like dropping a little bit, you know, as time went on, you know, other songs started to like, but once I saw that visual, I said, oh no, this is my winner. This is my winner.
Yeah.
It was one of those turning points in Eurovision, and especially in the Eurovision season, where everybody had to take a step back and go, wow. Like that transformed that from potential NQ to potential winner. And that like, yeah. And also attributed to, you know, what you said with the music video and like clear direction. The person who did the music video, and it seemed very organic, I guess, that they then went on, you know, they had a vision for the staging and they did the music video and they were like, here's an idea. They are not a person who normally does staging for Eurovision, and it just all worked. And it's like, that's when you just have a good creative team. Yeah.
That's what made it the best staging, is that they aren't a Eurovision staging director who's been passed around from country to country,
Hmm.
who does 3 or 4 countries every season with multiple stagings. And like
Hmm.
on a basic level, you know, the knee-jerk reaction for me was to say, well, Switzerland probably had the best staging because that thing, but it's just a very interesting prop and it worked out really cool, but it felt like more of a gimmick. Whereas with 𝗵𝗵𝗆, it was a vision, and it was so minimal. All that they had
Yeah.
for a prop was that candle ring, extremely simple thing. And that, you know, and that thing that Nemo was on was not simple. That was like a big complicated thing that was probably crazy to ship and all of that. So like the simplicity of the staging, how clean it was, how fresh it was, how there was nothing distracting you from them and their performance. Like
Hmm.
it really paid off so well, because like, you know, too, everyone who watches this podcast knows I was not like feeling this song at all. It was not working for me, but the staging really did change it, because it felt like the most connected to the artist watching
Hmm.
the staging. Whereas the music video, it still feels like there's, you know, that fourth wall there where you're just seeing the thing play out in front of you. It feels very theatrical, whereas the
Yeah.
the live performance didn't feel theatrical. It felt intimate. Like
Hmm.
it felt like
Yeah.
you were in the room with them. They were screaming. Like it was fucking amazing. One of the best Eurovision stagings ever.
Oh,
I
yeah.
It will be so hard to top that.
Yeah, this goes down in the history books. Like to me, this rivals even 𝗵𝗵𝗆𝗆𝗫, who was always my like whenever anybody who would ever ask me, "Oh, who's your best staging ever?" I would say that. But this was like, and you know when there's that one shot that you can just pinpoint where you like shook, it's that, �奧I speak to destroy, and it's coming from above, and it's just like, when you could pause it at any moment, and it just feels like cinematic and theater, like theatrical in the performance sense, where it's just like, wow, you are performing. Like, ooh, that was good. That was good. And it's just all the camera angles, everything was so smart. Yeah.
Yeah.
And with intention, everything had intention behind it. It wasn't just, we'll just put that in there. It was
No.
like, yeah. Yeah. And then we have worst staging. So, okay, I thought long and hard about this. And maybe we can have a discussion because I can't decide between two.
Okay.
Um, I think technically, based on result, it should be Moldova and 𝗤𝗏𝗆𝗆 in the middle. That was bad. That was
Really
really
bad.
bad. But also, there's a part of me that felt like, well, the song was bad. Like for me personally, the song was bad. It was never going to be anything, special. And then there's the other aspect of me that's disappointed in what a song could have been, but was
Mm.
floundered by the staging, and that's Slovenia. Um,
Yeah, definitely.
so like those are my kind of two picks. I'm leaning more honestly towards Slovenia because I just felt like that song had such a great potential. And yes, it got a better result, but I think it got a better result because it's just like Raven's an amazing performer. Raven's a captivating artist. Um, and the song was more interesting. And that's what put it there. And she's such a good live performer. But oh God, where that song could have ended up if it did have any kind of staging. And it just had like nothing.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Although I am still inclined to say Moldova, because it's, you know, in the opposite sense of where everything with Ireland felt extremely intentional and well thought
Mm,
out, everything about it. It felt like nobody gave a fuck about what they
no.
were doing. Like none of that was, it was just like, oh, just some angel wings and a
Mhm.
tree with stuff. It was like everything about it felt like a randomizer. Which just,
Yeah.
because like that's actually Cookie's favorite song of the season. Um, she loves that song. Seriously, she loves it. She loves when I go da 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 da
Oh my
da
God.
da. See,
I
as
mean,
she
I love
comes.
that's funny. That's her calling.
Yeah, she loves it. She gets real excited when I do that sound to her. So that was definitely Cookie's favorite. But oh man, the staging was so phoned in,
Yeah.
like unbelievable.
Yeah. It's like hard to watch almost. Um, well, then we move on to best dancing slash best
Mm.
dancer. So I put this category in because I just felt like we had a lot of like dance breaks, we had a lot of dancing moments. But who was the best? So for me, I have to give it to Miss 𝗂𝗍 from Austria because there were a lot of good dancers this year, but she kind of took the cake in that regard, in regards to the performance, the dance break, the flips. Like a lot of bitches were getting flipped around, but ain't
Yeah.
nobody was doing it like 𝗂𝗍. And yes, her vocals were a little compromised, but she was still hitting that mic, unlike some other people, Marina Sati. So I'm just saying. So so it's just impressive. Like, and I rewatched that performance. It's like I think that's my thing because this isn't about vocals. This is about performance, and that song was a fucking dancing fun song. So that my vote goes to 𝗂𝗍.
My winner for this category is Ireland again
Oh, okay, yeah,
because it wasn't like a. I don't want to say it wasn't choreographed because obviously it was. Like there was so much movement direction going on, but it was not choreo like the way 𝗂𝗍 is choreo.
Mhm.
But there was something like there's a move where they kick their leg up like
Yes.
really high and straight, and you can tell that's from knowing how to do Irish dance.
Hmm.
And they're even wearing like the Irish dance shoes. And there's something that was
Mm.
so beautiful about the way that they move their body. They had this background in ballet, and you can see it like they do the pirouettes. There's the part where they're on the ground, and then they get like lifted up by one arm.
Yeah.
It is just like a superhuman, like it looks like CGI, like being lifted
Yeah.
up like that, like right onto the tiptoes and everything. I thought the dancing was just it like that was just another element that really elevated that whole package
Hmm.
so highly.
Yeah. That's a good one. I didn't even think about that one really. So then, best dancer, but what about the best vocalist? Bitch, this one's hard. This was
Yeah, there's
hard
a
for
lot of
me.
good ones this
There
year.
were a lot of good ones. Hmm, I don't know. Yeah, I want you to go first because I don't know I picked literally five. I literally have five
Oh wow.
shortlisted in front of me.
This one was again easy for me, and it was Ireland, just because they were so good vocally on probably the most challenging song that there was
Yeah.
to sing, because screaming like that is really challenging, and it's hard to do that over and over again, which they were being forced to do at all of the rehearsals and all of the live shows. Like that is really difficult. Obviously, also like Nemo was a great vocalist as well, but there were a lot of really good vocalists. So it is
Yeah.
a really hard category. This is definitely one of the tighter ones.
Yeah. I think like my initial, like what I believe in my heart of hearts, Bambi Thug as well.
Yeah.
Because it's just watching that, that is the one where it's like Yolanda's an amazing, like there's like the ones that are like amazing singers, but Bambi Thug takes it to like such another level. And that's something that when I think who else could do that in this competition? A lot of people can belt and they can hold a note or whatever, and they sound good like all the time. And that is something to be said. Yolanda, Raven, Nemo. But who can do what Bambi Thug did? Maybe Gote. Maybe
Maybe,
Gote.
yeah, maybe her. And I would think also that possibly um uh Kenzie from
Mm.
Megara. I feel like because she's a rock vocalist,
Yes,
we don't know,
but
she
Miss
probably
Girl was
doesn't know how
not
to
in Miss Girl was not in the running for best vocalist.
but she would be closer to being able to
Yes.
do
Yeah.
that song. Like I think Maria Bonici or Sarah Bonici would have a hard time singing
Yes.
uh
Yeah.
Doomsday Blue.
Yeah. And I think it's like, and I've actually been loving watching like vocal coach reacts to Bambi Thug
Yeah.
because, and I've been loving seeing how much everybody from all spheres are like professional vocal coaches, not just honest vocal coach, other people too, like how they can truly appreciate the technical aspect of what Bambi Thug did because those screams, it's just like it feels it's such another level and it's in the different levels to it because that's was like how I was like leaning towards also Nemo because there's the rap and the opera. But ooh, Bambi Thug, like wow. That's one that you just sit back and you go, oh my God. And I think that's why they ended up doing so well was because anybody could appreciate that performance because it was just so technically impressive that like even if you're not loving the Satanism, not,
Mhm.
I know it's not Satanism, but like, you know, if you're one of those people that looks at that and you go, oh my goodness, like I'm a Christian woman, like how can I, you know, I can't support this, but ooh, but they're really hitting that damn scream, like ooh, yeah, those vocals were another level. So then, you know, we have best non-qualifiers. So who did not go through that? That was the best. For me, it's obvious. For me, Malta, 𝗫𝗏𝗍𝗆, dead last in the semi.
Unbelievable, unfair, unjust. Just
Disrespectful.
this was so much better than Liar. Everything about it.
Yeah.
The song was better, the staging was better, the dancing was better, everything was better about this. It should have, like, to come dead last the way that it did, just not right.
Speak on it, because what the hell? This should have gone through. Never, when we
Yeah.
were sitting in that stream and those results came out and 𝗣𝗅𝗍 said 𝗫𝗏𝗍𝗆 came dead last in the semi, I said, you're playing with me. This is, y'all, the way they were trolling us the whole stream, I was thinking this is a troll, because there's no way. There was no way in my mind. I thought this was on the brink of qualifying. Dead last. What? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. But also, I just also like wanted to shout out 𝗏𝗏, because 𝗏𝗏 actually did do amazing, and it
Yeah.
does pain me that 𝗏𝗏 didn't go through, because low key, one person should have gone through from that semi that did not end up going through, which was Yost, and another
Yeah.
country shouldn't even have been there. So
Yeah.
the fact that she didn't get to go through,
That's a
um,
really rough 11th place.
yeah,
That's one of the hardest ones, I think. Also, too, because Czechia had, like, they had just qualified 2 years in a row, like it was going pretty good. And
yeah,
also she really, like, to look at the national final performance to that, like, she came a really long way. And
yeah,
yeah, it was really too bad. So yeah,
yeah,
that was
yeah.
that was an unfortunate NQ.
But then we had our biggest grower. Okay, so, ooh, this was another one I wrote down like 5 different options because I didn't really know. Because there's one hand of, I want to say France, because that was like my dead last at one point, and like I watched that performance, I thought, wow, you know, that was actually really beautiful. But I don't know where that would rank in my placements. So, but like, you know, because it was so low, like we were dead ass haters, and then we really came around on that one. Whereas the other ones in my options were all songs I liked, but just I really grew to love them.
Mm.
You know what? I gotta give it to France. I'm giving it to France, because that performance was really like, it was so perfectly staged and beautiful, and just like I really grew to appreciate it. Even if it's not a song I'm ever listening to, that one really grew on me in a way that, these are my shortlisted ones: Ukraine, Greece. Greece was a different reasoning behind me putting Greece in
Hmm.
there. And Portugal. Portugal was very mid for me, but that one like kind of
Yeah.
clicked. That one clicked personally because I've been going through it. So that one clicked. Um, but I think France deserves their applause for me for that one.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you that that is a deserving winner. Because for me it was like dead last. Like, I apologize to all the Frenchies. Like, I've been proof wrong in the
Literally.
end, because by the time it was all over, this was not dead last for me like it
Mm.
was all season. Like, just like, I'm pretty sure that I had it in like the lowest tier. It was like in my complete skip category.
Oh yeah, me
Um,
too. Yeah.
so that one definitely really did come a long way for me. But I also was tempted to say maybe Ireland, because I
Mm-hmm.
never really, it really wasn't until the very end where it was like, okay, I see the vision now. Um, but another one that really grew on me, because with like Ireland, I always appreciated it for like what it
Mm-hmm.
was, even if I didn't, really want to listen to it a lot. But a song that I just completely didn't even think about whatsoever. In fact, I listened to it once in March, and then I didn't listen to it again until after the contest was over.
Oh.
Hollow by Dons.
Oh.
I don't know. I feel like something with like his performance actually, it was like, I was like, oh, do you know what? Like, actually, this really isn't that bad for what it is, for the type of song that it is. I like it. Like, I actually
Yeah.
like Don's Hollow now.
Yeah, that's a
Because I
good one.
always say it like as the I think of it for some reason as like 𝗏𝗏𝘆. I think maybe the first video, like that's how it was written. So I thought
Mm.
that the artist was 𝗏𝗏𝘆. Like that was
Oh.
so I so I like I
Mm.
put the two, I like to say them together. Like it is 𝗏𝗏𝘆 in my mind.
Don's Hollow.
𝗏𝗏𝘆.
I love that. I had Grease. Okay, the reason here's why Grease was in my short list. Um, because it's my biggest grower from when I first watched the live performances to now, because I fucking hated it. And so sometimes this happens when I react to entries, where I react to them and my first reaction is really negative, and then I immediately regret it because it immediately from that first reaction starts to click after it.
Wait, you had a negative reaction to Grease?
Oh yeah, to the live performance.
Oh, the live performance. Oh, okay.
Yes. No, not to the actual song. I love the song. And then it fell off so hard for me when I watched the actual performance. And I felt bad because ever since it started to click. Like I hated it first. And it's just now I watch it and it's one of the ones I'm rewatching. I actually do kind of love it. I
Hmm.
actually kind of love the choreo. I don't know if maybe her final performance, because that's the one I'm rewatching. I don't know if it was just like infinitely better than the semifinal performance. Because even I had somebody comment under my reaction. They said, "You reacted to a rehearsal." Babes, I did not react to a rehearsal. I reacted to the semifinal performance. So maybe it was just really bad
Oh.
compared, but it's grown on me a lot in the off season. It's grown back on me, I guess. So, and then we had our favorite studio track. So I feel like this one can kind of double as like because for me, I kind of separate my before live show winner and my after live
Mm.
show winner. Because it's like before live show's really based on studio track for the most part. I mean, we do have live performances, whatever, but like that's what I try to base that. That's usually tends to be how my ranking's going. So, anyways, my favorite studio track of the season, from the actual show was Estonia, 5 minust põleb nendest narkutimu narkut narkutikumidest etie me kul midagi. That
Good
was my
try.
favorite song. Bitch, I tried. What, you want to try?
No.
Okay. um, yeah, that was my favorite song of the season. That was my winner, like ahead of the live shows. It's such a fucking good song. It's everything I love. It's got a sense of humor. It's got cultural. It's fun. It's danceable. It's got an iconic dance. It's got an iconic vision. I fucking love this song. This song brought me to Estonia, and from that might have me moving there, like
Yeah,
because of it. Like, girl, this song might have changed my life. Like I
literally.
mean, but it's
Yeah.
true. Like that's the whole reason I was excited and wanted to go to Estonia. I mean, there were many reasons, but like that was like the big thing for me. And like, who knows? It might have changed the course of my life. We'll
Yeah,
see.
absolutely. I think that's a great one. And that one was for a long time, because that was such an early song in the season, was like one of the top ones for
Mhm.
me, if not the winner for a good portion of the season. But of course, my favorite studio track has to be The Tower, because
Mhm.
like there was literally, I think maybe April, it was my number one song that I streamed.
Mhm.
It knocked the Portion Boys out of the number one.
Mhm.
Like what?
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's a big
definitely
deal.
has to be The Tower. I don't know. This song really clicked for me in a really major way. Um, so definitely her. But of
Yeah.
course, I was let down hard once we actually got to the shows.
Yeah. I feel that. All right, so next category we have, isn't I feel like it's inspired a little bit by me, and it is our Eurovision crush of the season, basically. Eurovision crush, the one that we think is the cutest. That's how I want to word it. Um, you know, I think it's weird to say like most attractive. I think that's weird. So it's just like that's my crush of the season. And for me, I know for a fact who it is, and that is Henry from the uncredited Windows 95, man. Henry. Underrated beauty of the year. He's so my type. He's so fucking hot. Like, I'm just like, and that mustache and the bleach blonde hair and his eyes. And when he gets on the ground and he's crawling, girl, it speaks to my soul.
Definitely agree. He's very, very cute. Definitely crush worthy. I definitely have a crush though on Sylvester Belt.
Oh, yeah.
Just so pretty, the most perfect, smoothest skin, the really angular face, and the
Mm.
great nose, and the like the little nose jewelry that they wore too, where it just like added more attention to their gorgeous nose. They look like someone on a Grecian urn, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like they're so long and lean, and they have this great body, and you can tell that they're tall. And oh my goodness, oh, just oof, beautiful.
Okay. I think we have different types, like for sure. Well, our next category is best dressed. Who's the fashion icon of the season? Ooh, this is a hard one. Ooh. Wait. I don't know why I was acting like it was hard because duh, Bambi Thug. Every fucking look was conceptual genius. Themed looks, like that is a person of my own heart. Like, hello, doing themed looks for where they are. Like, just every single look was something new, something different, something exciting, something to be talked about, and not just for a gimmick. Like, it was fashion, alternative fashion down like we've never even seen before.
And all
Bambi
those
Thug for sure.
headpieces and everything.
Yes,
Yes,
like
very, very good.
everything head to toe.
So I would say that obviously Bambi Thugs was the most creative and conceptual of the clothes, but I think the best like fashion, high fashion, wearable fashion, meaningful fashion, Yolanda.
Speak on it.
Yolanda looked amazing all the time, and her clothing had meaning too, because
Hmm.
she was wearing on the turquoise carpet on stage during the flag parade, in promotional photo shoots, she was wearing clothing from Trashy Clothing,
Hmm.
which is a Palestinian designer, Palestinian high-end fashion designer. And so, you know, like people talked a lot about, you know, like we need to have pro-Palestinian voices at Eurovision. She was wearing pro-Palestinian, she was wearing her voice and her support
Yeah.
through the clothes that she wore, directly financially supporting a creator from Palestine. And I think that was so important, and she deserves to have the best dressed award for this year from me.
I agree. And also shout out to Marina Sati because she actually also wore that designer, not on the
She did.
stage, but she wore the designer just, around. So,
Around.
oh shit.
Oops.
Sorry. So then we come down to who's your winner of 2024. And so I've decided. I was very wishy-washy because I really like something about Ukraine just like clicked for me. And I feel bad, like, when someone's just like constantly your second. And like, so like they didn't really win any of my awards, but they were constantly a nice second place. And I kind of thought maybe they were my winner because I found myself still listening to the song more. So yeah, that was kind of like my reaction after that, the semifinals before we got to the final. I was kind of like, oh, Ukraine's, I think, my winner. Because it was like, oh, studio track, everything. I'm listening to the song more, and I love the performance. It was a mixture of I love the song and I love the performance. But after watching the final, and I had such an emotional reaction to this song, was to Doomsday Blue, to Ireland.
Mhm.
I had such an emotional reaction that I genuinely hadn't felt since I had first watched Eurovision in 2016 to Jamala. I've never cried to an entry like that. Like I was bawling for songs after it to that one still, because it was just like the lead up, the build up. It's one of those things where it's just so much pent up emotion in that song. Not only everything it represented with Bambi, with their experience connected with that, but also like the song is the perfect song to let it all out in the end and just
Mhm. Yeah.
scream and yell and just like let it all out. That was just like the perfect thing for me in that moment. And this one, I think, will always just hold that really emotional connection to me because of it. And also being an Irish person, like there's something that I feel so proud and like represented by Bambi, having like a queer person represent Ireland and having like all of Ireland get behind them and be so proud of them. And like it's like brought me back to where I'm like proud to be an Irish person in that sense too. Like it's got so much emotional connection to me because of it. So yeah.
Yeah, Ireland really cleaned up at these joint Slay Awards this
Yes.
year, because that's also my winner.
Really?
Yeah, because like once the rehearsal clips came out, I was just finding myself watching them over and over
Yes.
and over again on Twitter. Like just I would keep going into my bookmarks and be like, I just want to see that 𝗵𝗵𝘆 clip
Hmm.
again. And even the recap clip that they used, that really short one where it's just the screaming part.
Yeah.
Like that took some fucking guts to do that. And like I just every time I watch it, I'm like, holy shit. Like this just is it is so good. This
Hmm.
is so good. And I wish that it would have won. Of course, it really wasn't that close to winning. It did amazing. Obviously, for Ireland, it's
Yeah.
like amazing. Best result in ages, really.
Hmm.
But it was just, it was so good. Everything about it was so good. It really was perfect. And I think it would have to be like my winner.
Yeah. It has honestly been a while since there was an entry that I really like. The performance and everything, I just kept going back and rewatching it. Like, I don't think I've really had that. I didn't go back and like look at all the entries, but like I feel like the last time I had that was with Kate Miller Heidke, where it just was like, oh, and you want to show everyone this performance and
Mhm.
you want to go and look up everybody's reactions to it. Like, I don't really watch a lot of reactions to Eurovision entries, but this was one where it was just like addictive. Like, I cannot get enough of watching. And a few weeks later, I still, every time it comes up, I have to watch the clip on Twitter or whatever. Like, it's still that good.
Yeah, congratulations, 𝗵𝗵𝘆, joint slay winner of
Yes.
the winner of the Joint Slay Awards
Yeah,
2024.
that was a clean sweep. That was a
Yeah.
clean sweep for 𝗵𝗵𝘆.
So before we wrap up and sign off for the season, we're going to do one bonus category. And this is a song that was not even in the running to go to Eurovision, but instead it's going to be a song from an artist that this is backed up by stats now on our stats apps. The song from an artist who competed in the national selection that we discovered because they were in the selection. So not the song that they sent to the national final, but our most listened to uh non-competing song by a competing artist. For it's I know it's complicated, baby, but we had to break out a little bit. So my number 8 most listened to song overall for the past 6 months, so for the whole Eurovision season, has actually been, it's the first song in my list that is not by the Portion Boys. This song broke through so hard for me. It is by 𝗤𝗏, her song
Mm.
𝗪ste Tuletati. And this song, I just love this song. I love it more than 𝗏𝗏. Obviously, I listened to it so many times. In fact, 𝗏𝗏 is only my 25th song in the list here for my most listened to songs in the past 6 months. But 𝗪ste Tuletati is just an amazing song. The title means you will be a star. And it's about Sarah getting out of her small town and like believing in herself to go and like do bigger things and better things. And as a small town girl myself who's followed my dreams, I totally relate to that. And actually, when I met 𝗤𝗏 before she did the final, so after the rehearsals, we had a press conference. And after the press conference, I was able to go up and say hello to her very briefly. And I actually said to her, in the one of the only things I could say to her because we had so little time, I said, 𝗪ste Tuletati, which is you'll be a star. And I made her cry. I felt so bad when she started crying because it was like, oh shit, she's got her stage
Aw.
makeup on. Um, but it was like it was an amazing moment with her. I love this song. Definitely. This if this song would have gone to Eurovision, would have been totally my winner.
Well, that was a beautiful story that you had to go along with that. That really was inspirational. My most listened to song by Eurovision national selection artist that didn't go, that wasn't their actual entry, was Pop Tech by 𝗷𝗏𝘅. I don't have something inspirational to say about him other than I just think this man is so beautiful. He's so baby girl, and his pecs are just so magnificent that he actually awakened something within me because I didn't know that was something I loved until I saw 𝗷𝗏𝘅. So, and
So
this song is so good.
are you saying then that this is the last time of the season that he's so fucking hot?
Oh, because I'm saying like, no, because honestly, if he went to Eurovision down, he'd be winning the Eurovision Crush Award because this man, 𝗷𝗏𝘅, he is so fucking, I need him so bad. Like, that's my Spanish husband. That's my Spanish husband for sure.
Oh, that guy?
What do you mean, oh, that guy?
I thought it was gonna be the guy who had that like outfit that was like black applique things on him. That
Ew, what
sexy
the
guy.
fuck?
I don't know. I don't know. This guy's
No, that
not
is not
hot.
my fucking type. Ew.
This guy is not hot.
Yes, he
He
is.
looks like Michael Gabriel.
No, he does not.
Yeah.
Almacore?
Yeah, he does.
He's
And they have the same
blonde.
stupid haircut, other than it being blonde.
He does not look
That's just
anything
hair
like him.
color.
He's got no, 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 no. No, he looks nothing like Michael Gabriel is like a twink. Like he's like,
And this man's not?
no, he's beefy.
I
He's
guess I'm
got
only
big
looking at his
boobs.
face.
No, he's like baby girl, cute, sweet, like slightly beefy, like, you know, like muscular, like fluffy muscular. Like, no, Michael Gabriel's giving like skinny, scrawny, short, like you know, thinks he's
Why,
alpha, but he's 5'2", like
oh my God, why are you so triggered, Maxxy?
because that's so disrespectful to Almacore. Almacore is so maybe you're not looking at the right picture. He's cute.
It's okay.
What?
It's okay.
I'm disrespected. That's like evil. That's
Sorry.
dark-sided. Alrighty, guys. So, oh my God, that is it for episode 37 of the 𝗫𝗍𝘆 podcast. I mean, it's sad to say that, you know, the season is really coming to an end. We're really rounding out. And that is the end of season 1 of the 𝗫𝗍𝘆 podcast. But don't forget, that's not the end of us. Hello, we are a dynamic duo. This is the 𝗫𝗍𝘆 over here.
Yes.
And joint slaying never ends.
Nope.
In my world, and neither in Renata's. So make sure you're heading over to patreon.com/𝗫𝗍𝘆 podcast and subscribing so you're not missing out on all this off-season fun that we've got planned for you guys over there. And yeah, guys, it's been a great season. This podcast has been my favorite part of the season. So
Yeah,
I just
same.
need to keep reiterating that. So thank you all to everybody who has been listening and supporting us over here. And yeah, guys, my name is 𝗲𝗡y Rainbow.
And I'm Renata from the 𝗲𝗍𝘆.
And we will see you all next year. Goodbye. Mwah.